Morning class. Had a few minutes break here, and I thought I'd respond to the discussion forum this week on the ethics of mandating insurance. As you know, the Affordable Care Act mandated that everybody carry a qualifying policy or face the penalty of a fine. That was litigated out all the way up into the Supreme Court, and though it was settled, many people still feel like that went against the Commerce Clause of the enumerated powers of the federal government, and that fine being imposed on somebody for not engaging in commerce is unconstitutional. I tend to agree, even though that was not part of the settled decision by the Supreme Court. I think when we talk about inequity in access to health care or health insurance, I think we have to do two things. We have to recognize that access to insurance is not analogous to access to care. And we also have to consider the inequity of burdening the people who are tax-paying citizens with the cost of paying for the care of people who may otherwise be able to afford care but choose not to. And I think that's largely represented by the younger population who, they perform a cost benefit analysis and determine that at their age, with their lower incomes usually, that it's not beneficial for them to engage in purchasing health insurance. I think you guys would think it was pretty ridiculous if I proposed that everybody should have access to Whole Foods Market, because healthy food is proven to increase longevity and increase overall health, right? And if you didn't have access, you would either receive a subsidy, or if you could afford to shop at Whole Foods but chose not to, then you would receive a fine. You could probably make the same argument with something like an automobile. Everybody should have an automobile. Well, there's a class of people in there that make a conscious decision and an informed decision to not have an automobile because they prefer mass transit or they prefer to ride their bike. So to think that you would penalize those people by imposing a tax, I think that that's wrong at its core. I have some things written down also. As an alternative, I think decentralization could perhaps offer a solution. Federally mandated things we're all subject to, whereas states being the testing grounds for these things, like you see in Oregon, Vermont, and Massachusetts with their own versions of universal care. I think those are great places to try these things and to enact them to see what works and what fails. It's much easier for me to make the choice to leave a state that I disagree with or that becomes financially burdening to me through excessive taxation. Not so easy to leave the country. I'll just give you a quote according to Dr. Waldman, 2017. The big lie says healthcare is all about insurance. It isn't. Healthcare is all about care. This author goes on to state that government provided care is inefficient, expensive. Many of the things that come along with this are increased wait times, rationing of care. And so ultimately, I think no, it's not ethical to impose a fine for not carrying insurance. Have a great day. Stay safe. I'll respond to you guys later. Thanks so much.